So I'm taking a look at the Kardashev scale, which is an intriguing hypothetical scale for measuring a civilization's level of technological advancement based on the amount of energy it can use. It was proposed by Soviet astronomer Nikolai Kardashev in the early 1960s. Except, I'm doing it with a twist. I took 3 online articles about the Kardashev scale and plugged them into Google's NotebookLM. This is an AI-driven online research assistant that you can use for free with a Google account. It can be used to provide various useful forms of documents from the source material you provide, including FAQs, study guides, briefing documents, and others, including the feature I am trying out here, the audio overview. This rather remarkable feature generates a quote-unquote podcast of sorts, with a couple of speakers presenting the material in a back-and-forth discussion that is surprisingly natural sounding. I'll play the audio in a minute. It really is worth a listen. The usual caveats with the current state of AI are in effect, but honestly, after listening a few times, the only thing I really noticed as being wrong was that they kept referring to a Type 1 civilization as a Type I civilization. I noticed that was the case in the written summaries too. The one became an I for some reason. Other than that, it was more professional sounding than I could have done based upon the same source material. Now, as far as a use case, I could see myself using this and playing the audio in my car as a way to brush up on a new topic. The podcast layout and chronology made sense to me, and the voices were certainly not obviously robotic or distracting. Quite impressive. So what follows is the entire content of the audio summary, which is 8 minutes or so, I think. I encourage you to take in at least a few minutes of it, or the whole thing if you want to know about the Kardashev scale. Hey, I hope you find this interesting, and I'll catch you next time. Here comes the podcast.
Ready to think big, really big. You sent us this study, and, well, it's got me fascinated by the year 2060, predicting where humanity might land on something called the Kardashev scale.
The Kardashev scale. Yeah, it's a fascinating thought experiment about classifying civilizations based on their energy use.
So it's like a cosmic measuring stick for technological advancement.
Exactly. Imagine a civilization that's mastered the energy of its entire planet. Things like volcanoes, earthquakes, even the weather. That's a Type I civilization.
Wow. Harnessing the power of nature on that scale is mind-blowing. So what happens after we conquer our own planet's energy?
Think bigger. Type 2 civilizations can harness the energy of their entire star. Picture a Dyson sphere, this hypothetical megastructure engulfing a sun to capture all its energy.
Okay, now that's just showing off. What about Type 3? They must make Type 2s look like they're using a nightlight.
Type 3 civilizations are where things get truly mind-boggling. We're talking about controlling the energy of an entire galaxy. The technology involved is almost beyond our current comprehension.
This is making me feel a bit insignificant, to be honest. So where do we even register on this scale?
Well, we're not lighting up the galaxy just yet. This 2023 study, using machine learning and a ton of data, places us at about 0.73 on the Kardashev scale.
0.73. That feels oddly precise, but also kind of low, considering all the progress we've made.
Remember, the scale is exponential. Each jump represents a colossal leap in energy consumption.
So even a small increase on the scale signifies a massive energy boost in reality. That makes more sense. But where do we go from here? Does the study predict we'll be hitting Type I anytime soon?
Well, the study used AI to analyze global trends like economic activity, resource use, and climate factors to predict our energy consumption. And it turns out, if we maintain our current trajectory, by 2060, we'll only reach about 0.74 on the scale.
Hold on, we're talking almost 40 years from now, and we barely moved the needle. That feels underwhelming.
It highlights just how immense those later stages of the Kardashev scale really are. According to the AI's projections, reaching full Type I status could take millennia if we rely solely on current trends.
Millennia. That's quite a reality check. So what could accelerate our progress? Is there a shortcut on this cosmic highway?
The study looked at one potential game changer: achieving commercially viable nuclear fusion power by, you guessed it, 2060.
Fusion power, isn't that the holy grail of clean, limitless energy? Surely that would bump us up the scale significantly.
It's not just about having more energy, though that's certainly a factor. Imagine the technological revolution sparked by the second industrial revolution. Electricity didn't just give us more power. It fundamentally changed how we lived, worked, and interacted with the world.
You're saying fusion power could be our generation's electricity, a catalyst for change on a scale we can barely comprehend.
Precisely. Abundant, cheap, clean energy could lead to innovations we haven't even dreamed of yet, completely reshaping our civilization's trajectory.
Okay, I'm officially hooked. So with fusion in the mix, where does the AI predict will land on the Kardashev scale by 2100?
Around 0.77.
Still not type I, but a significant leap forward compared to the previous prediction. So fusion power is a big deal, but it's clearly not the only ingredient in this recipe for advancement, right? What else did the study consider?
You're right. Energy is just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
The Kardashev scale,
Uh-huh.
while a fascinating concept,
Yeah.
can be a bit simplistic.
Right.
It's like judging a civilization's complexity
Okay.
solely on how much electricity it uses.
It's like saying a city that's lit up like a Christmas tree is automatically more advanced than one that values energy conservation.
Right.
There's more to it than just raw consumption.
Precisely. For example, the study acknowledges the impact of climate change on energy production,
Right.
but it doesn't dive into the potential of environmental limits. What if a civilization uses up all its resources trying to reach type I status?
Yeah.
That's a short-lived victory.
Cautionary tale for sure. It's like that saying, speed thrills, but it also kills.
Right.
Maybe a slow and steady approach to progress is more sustainable in the long run.
And then there are the social and political dimensions.
Okay.
A civilization constantly at war or crippled by inequality might struggle to advance.
Right.
Even with all the energy in the world.
Yeah.
Imagine the incredible feats we could achieve if humanity worked together towards a common goal.
It's like that old saying, united we stand, divided we fall, but on a cosmic scale.
Right.
So even if we crack fusion and have energy to spare, our social and political systems could hold us back from joining the ranks of higher Kardashev civilizations.
It's a sobering thought.
Yeah.
But let's not forget the possibility of encountering other intelligent civilizations out there.
Oh, okay.
Now that could really shake things up on the Kardashev scale.
First contact. That would be a game changer, for sure.
Right.
Do you think they'd share their advanced tech and help us climb the ladder faster?
Perhaps.
Okay,
Or maybe the real gift wouldn't be their technology, but their knowledge.
I see.
Imagine the possibilities of exchanging ideas, learning from their successes and failures,
Yeah.
seeing how they've tackled the challenges of civilization on a grander scale.
Right.
It could spark an explosion of innovation, unlike anything we've seen before.
It's like suddenly gaining access to a library of cosmic wisdom.
Right.
Opening up entirely new avenues of thought and understanding.
Exactly.
But even with all this talk of energy and technology, is there a ceiling to how far a civilization can advance?
That's a good question.
Is there a limit to what's physically possible?
That's where the concept of physical eschatology comes in.
Okay,
It sounds intimidating,
right.
but it's really about using the laws of physics to explore the ultimate fate of civilizations,
Okay.
even those far more advanced than ours.
Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me.
Sure.
What kind of questions does physical eschatology ask about the future of civilizations?
It delves into some pretty profound questions.
Okay.
For example, we know the universe is expanding,
Right,
and eventually stars will burn out.
right.
So how would a civilization dependent on those stars for energy survive?
Yeah, good question.
Could a Type 3 civilization actually manipulate the fabric of space-time to escape this fate? It really stretches the limits of our imagination.
We're talking about civilizations potentially outliving the universe as we know it.
Yeah.
That's truly mind-blowing and a
Mhm.
little terrifying, to be honest.
It is awe-inspiring to think about.
Yeah,
It underscores just how limited our current perspective might be.
right.
We're constantly discovering new particles, new forces, new laws that govern the universe.
Right.
Who knows what lies beyond our current understanding of physics?
Yeah.
What unimaginable technologies might be possible with that knowledge?
It makes the Kardashev scale seem almost quaint. Like, we've created this system for classifying civilizations.
Yeah.
But what if we don't even have a vocabulary yet to describe what's truly out there?
That's a fascinating thought.
Yeah.
And it brings us back to the provocative thought we want you to consider. If even a Type 3 civilization,
Uh-huh.
harnessing the energy of a whole galaxy,
Okay.
is potentially just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Yeah.
What lies beyond the Kardashev scale?
Right.
What other forms could intelligence take?
Yeah.
And could we even comprehend them?
Okay. Now my mind is officially blown.
It's a lot to think about.
It's both humbling and exhilarating to realize how much more there is to learn and discover. It's like we're trying to map the universe with a compass that only points north. We have a sense of direction, but there's so much we're missing.
And that's precisely what makes this whole exploration so captivating. It's a reminder of how much more there is to discover, even beyond what we can currently imagine.
It's a good thing humans are a curious bunch. This whole Kardashev scale thing, it really highlights how our desire to understand our place in the universe, it drives us to push the boundaries of knowledge.
Absolutely. And sometimes just asking the questions is as important as finding the answers.
Speaking of questions, all this talk of galactic empires and civilizations manipulating space-time, it makes our everyday worries feel pretty small, doesn't it?
It certainly puts things in perspective. While we're busy debating the merits of electric cars versus fusion power, there might be civilizations out there having already transcended those concerns millennia ago.
It's almost comical when you think about it, but who knows? Maybe one day we'll be the ones looking back at our ancestors' struggles with fossil fuels and chuckling at how far we've come.
Or maybe we'll have moved beyond energy entirely, tapping into forces and dimensions we haven't even begun to understand.
Yeah, there's a thought. What if the Kardashev scale is just the tip of the iceberg? A starting point on a journey of discovery that leads us to redefine intelligence, civilization, maybe even existence itself.
The possibilities are truly endless. And while we may never have all the answers, isn't it exciting to know that the quest to understand our place in the cosmos will continue to drive us forward?
Absolutely. Well, you've given me a lot to ponder. This whole deep dive has been a fantastic reminder that the universe is a much bigger, stranger, and more wonderful place than we often give it credit for.
The pleasure was all mine. Until next time, keep looking up and keep asking those big questions. You never know what you might discover.